And with that, I'd like to call up first Macy Petty.
All right. What a great day. Hello, everybody. My name is Macy Petty, and I am a current NCAA volleyball player, so I'm still in the middle of all those early mornings everybody's talking about. I'm also a Young Women for America ambassador. It is an absolute honor to stand here today and celebrate with y'all the passage of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act through the House. Thank you, Speaker McCarthy, for having me, and Congressman Stubbe for sponsoring this bill. I worked my entire life to become an NCAA athlete. I was that girl in high school who never got to go to prom, who never got to go on these fancy vacations, because I spent my weekends on the volleyball court. I would be traveling around, going to all of these various club tournaments to try and get recruited and eventually realize my dream of playing NCAA volleyball. Now, for the sake of including those who cannot follow the most basic and fundamental of rules that girls' sports are for girls only, female athletes who sacrificed so much for their sport are being pushed out of athletics. Sadly, I have had to play my sport, volleyball, against a male at one of these volleyball tournaments while I was trying to get recruited. Men's volleyball nets are over 7 inches higher than female volleyball nets. So this athlete was playing on a net over 7 inches tall, or 7 inches shorter than he should have as a man. If you can imagine trying to play against somebody, imagine being 7 inches taller, right? It's a big difference. Suddenly, mediocre athletes can hit like All-Americans, and that's exactly what happened. These college recruiters were trying to evaluate my skills and see if I would be a good fit for their team and see the work that I've put my entire life into, but instead they watched this boy slam the ball in our face time and time again. A recruiter's job, the recruiters who were watching this game, their ultimate job is to bring titles and money back to their school, right? Well, this can obviously happen much easier with a biological male on court. So this ultimately strips the opportunity of scholarships and playing time, an issue that was supposed to have been settled 50 years ago with the passage of Title IX. So that is why I'm not going to be silent. As a female athlete, I see what sports can do for women. I see the self-confidence, the leadership training, the incredible experience of sacrificing for a goal. I will continue to speak up until all female athletes everywhere have fair competition. Today's passage of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act is a great step, and I'm deeply grateful for everyone standing up here who helped make that happen. Thank you so much.
And now let's hear from one of the very first women to speak up with the courageousness of talking about the unfairness, Selina Soule.
Hi everyone, my name is Selina Soule, and as Speaker McCarthy said, I was one of the first to start speaking on this issue. I was forced to compete against 2 biological males in track and field in my home state of Connecticut. I raced against these athletes over a dozen times, and they would beat me out by 20 meters in the 100-meter dash every single time without fail. I lost out on countless opportunities. Most notably, I missed out on qualifying for the 2019 New England regional meet. I was kicked out of the 55-meter finals and qualifying for the New England meet by the 2 biological males, and I was forced into the sidelines in my own event because I was at the New England meet and 2 other events where I received all New England honors. I am eternally grateful for the House Republicans for passing this bill to ensure that no other girl has to experience the pain and heartbreak that I went through my 4 years of high school, and I will be grateful to them for the rest of my life, and I will continue to fight for this issue for as long as it takes. Thank you.
Thank you for your courage. And now let's hear from Taylor Silverman.
Hi everyone, my name is Taylor Silverman, and I have been skateboarding now for almost 12 years. And for the past several years, I have traveled around the country competing in events. In 2018, I went to an event in California where I was made aware that a male athlete was in the women's division. And then again in 2020, when I traveled to Illinois, the same thing happened. And the first couple times this happened, I honestly thought that this was going to be a funny story we laughed about one day, and it would be something everyone would agree was obviously unfair and not the way to handle it. But unfortunately, it continued on and got worse. So in 2021, in a Red Bull circuit, I went to the finals, where I found out about an hour before the finals that there was a male in my division yet again. And this time, similar to the contest in Illinois, I placed second. And I also lost out on thousands of dollars of prize money. This athlete took $5,000 of the prize money meant for female athletes, not only placing first in the women's division, but also taking the prize for best trick. And I knew this was wrong, but it was intimidating to speak out about it. But as time went on and my emails to Red Bull were ignored and the concerns I had raised to the judges were ignored, I realized that if I didn't speak up, nobody would. And I had seen other female athletes speak up in other sports, so I knew that if they could do it, I could do it. And I knew that my story was not unique. But a lot of these stories we don't even hear about. So the few that you're hearing today are of many. But I'm very grateful to be here today. It's an honor to be here. And I'm grateful for everyone who's fought to reinstore fairness and equal opportunity in women's sports. When I was a child growing up playing sports in school, I never had to worry about this. But unfortunately, fairness was robbed from me as an adult. But I refuse to be the last generation of girls to experience equal opportunity, respect, fairness, and even safety in many sports. And finally, I am happy to say we are headed back in the right direction.